Hey everyone, welcome to the NRL Round 21 Try Scorer Preview. This is now the third one of these. We've done two so far over the past 2 weeks. Both of them have been really successful with a really high percentage of the selections hitting. So I'm going to continue it on right through for the rest of the season and show you pretty much how you can use statistics and trends to find high probability bets. And applying to the try scorers, which so many people love betting on, I'm really excited to continue on doing this. So how we're going to do this is using three tools from the NRL Bet Finders. This is the first of the tools where we're able to go through and look at how many tries each team scores by the position, and then how many tries the opponent concedes to that position. So just to give you a quick rundown of what we're looking at here, on the Warrior side, this section here is their tries that they've scored, and this section is the tries that the West Tigers, who's the opponent, have conceded to that position. In the bold text is the average, and in the red and green cells is where that ranks in the league. So what we're essentially looking for here is, for a good betting situation, we need a green number in this column for the Warriors and a red number in that column for what is the Tigers. If we can get that situation, that's likely a good betting opportunity. If we've got red numbers here and a green number here, so for example, centers for the Warriors, that's an unideal betting situation. You kind of want to avoid those players, avoid having them in your fantasy teams, those kind of things. And then other situations that obviously appear, two red sections. That means the opposition team can't defend that very well, and the attacking side don't really score many tries through that position. And two green situations, which we can kind of see here with the Eels in the halves. That means that team scores a high percentage of their tries through that position. However, it's going to be difficult for them in this game against this specific opponent, as they don't concede many tries to that position. So now you guys know what we're looking for. This is one of the tools. The next of the tools is the try scorer trends here, which you're able to see and go through all the players and overall this season, how many tries they've scored in total, what they're averaging, how many games, what percentage of games they're averaging at least 1, 2, and 3 tries, and which games they scored those tries in. So we can see, okay, over recent games, that player scored X number of tries over their past X number of games. So those are the two of the main tools. And then the third tool we're effectively using is the ranking of the tries by position. So we're able to see where they kind of stack up overall in the league. You can see Roosters clearly on top in tries to the left center, and Raiders ranked last in that category, and so on and so forth through every position. And then tries conceded by position, same thing goes. And we're looking for just really good betting opportunities for these specific games. So with that being said, we'll start with the Warriors versus Tigers game. This is one where both sides are pretty poor in attack and pretty poor in defense for the most part. So there's not a ton of really good opportunities here. However, I am looking to target the right edge for the Warriors. You see that's where the Tigers are slightly worse defensively. On the left edge, they're ranked 5th to the left center and 12th to the left winger. Not too bad, 11th overall, whereas on the right edge, they can see the most tries in the league to the opponent right wingers. And thankfully for us, that means that Dylan Lesniak scores the most tries for the Warriors. He scored 2 of his past 3 games and scores a try in 44% of matches. He is the leading try scorer and finds a perfect situation here going up against the West Tigers right edge defense. So for him, if we look on TAB, they're currently paying $1.65 for him to score a try. And we're going to go through this. The 3 companies we're using tonight for the selections is Sportsbet, Neds, and TAB. Obviously, definitely continue shopping around. However, you can definitely find some major value. There's a few players that we're going to go through where you're getting 50, 60, 70 cents better for them if you actually shop around. So don't just put all the bets on with Sportsbet or anything like that. Make sure you look for the best possible opportunities. So I definitely believe that is the best betting option for this game. Outside of it, the other two that kind of stand out is the Warriors halves. They're ranked second in tries to halves, and the Tigers also concede the most tries to that position. However, when we look at the halves for the Warriors, who are Harris Tavita, who here scored 2 tries since the bye, but only scored a try in that game in his past 6. So not really an ideal situation. And Tamari Martin has scored in 2 of his past 6 games. But I'm just going to stay out of that. But I feel like that is the other best betting opportunity in that game. Either of those two players, but not going to be official plays. And then for the Tigers, the only real good situation they have is at the left center. They're ranked fourth in tries to left center, and the Warriors concede the 14th most tries to that position. However, if we look at the lineups, Stafford Toa is playing left center for the Tigers. And if we look at his trends, he's only played the 2 games overall on the season. So hardly an ideal player to take advantage of that. So we're teaming Lesniak to play in the Warriors-Tigers game. Then in the later game, we've got 3 plays in this matchup. I said in the overall round preview, I think the Storm will be able to run right through the Eels. So there's a couple of players I'm looking at targeting for them. But firstly, with the Eels, the right edge is where they're going to have to target if they're going to score any points. However, the problem with Moses out, they're down at halfback, and halfback plays on the right-hand side, which means they're not as advantaged, as they generally would be. But you'll notice pretty much all their points come down that right edge. They're the number 2 right edge attack compared to number 14 left edge attack. And also, Storm don't really defend the edges all that well. However, they do defend the middle part of the field extremely well. So I feel like the area we can take advantage here with the Eels is at right center. Come back over to the trends. Blaze Tulagi has scored a try in 7 of his past 8 games. So been very, very consistent, pretty much since round 10. And if we look at the odds for him for this game, to score a try, paying $2.90. I feel like that's a very reasonable price. This is a really tough situation for the Eels. However, they are at home. Don't think they're going to get shut out, and their only real, attacking edge is down that right side. And then Targo on the wing. Come back here. Targo this season, Jake Targo's only played the 2 games and hasn't scored in either of them. So anyone is there to take advantage of it is Tulagi, and 290 I feel like is a fair bet for that. Probably should have said this off the top as well. How you want to stake how much money you want to put on the selections and effectively stake these bets is based on what the odds. So you want to kind of back every selection to win the same amount, and also do that in alignment with your sports betting bankroll, which is 100 units. Break down that 100 units into individual units and aim to back each selection to win 1.5 units. If you can do that, that's going to set you up for longevity in sports betting and consistently making money if you're following the processes that I talk about, not just this video, but all the other videos when it comes to choosing your bets. On to the Storm. As I said, there's a couple other plays I like in this game. Firstly, the good situations for the Storm. Fullback, definitely. Pappenhausen expected to line up at fullback here for the Melbourne Storm. He is definitely a potential try scorer in this game, and probably wouldn't talk you out of backing him, to be honest. He's only played 3 games since being out injured and has scored in 2 of them and has been consistent, scoring trying 64% of games that he's played this season. So I'd definitely be looking closely at him. However, the other 2 that I want to play is firstly, targeting the left edge. So spoken out previously, the Eels are a really bad edge defense, but especially on the left edge. They concede the most tries to left centers and left wingers. And on the left edge, Anderson playing left wing for the Melbourne Storm. We bring him up, paying $1.56 to score a try. And overall, this season, Anderson has scored in his past 2 games and 3 of his past 5. So didn't play the early part of the season, but since then has really picked it up and should be able to cross the line here against this Eels left edge defense. And then the other player I want to have is targeting Meaney and Howarth to score. So if we look here, they're both playing center. The Eels concede the most tries to the opponent's centers, and the Storm get a high percentage of their tries through the centers. They're ranked third in tries to centers and 11th in tries to wingers. Both those players playing center. Go over to Sportsbet. We have Meaney and Howarth, to one of them to score a try at $1.53. So they're fairly short odds, but I feel like both of those should definitely be winning in this game. And we'll be playing those. So we'll have 3 total plays on the Eels Storm game. Talagi to score a try, 290, and then the 2 selections you can see on the screen here. Next game, on to the Saturday games. The early game, Broncos versus Bulldogs. There really isn't any good situations here, and you just want to be very, very cautious in your bets for this game, because firstly, Broncos score the majority of their tries through the fullback, and with Reece Walsh at fullback, they're ranked 4th in the league. However, Bulldogs concede the least number of tries to opponent fullbacks. So this is going to make it very, very tough. And then also for the Broncos, just be very cautious of taking players on the left-hand edge, as that Bulldogs are very strong on that side, and also give up the least number of tries to wingers. So Broncos really aren't well positioned for any try score bets in this game, and this is the advantage we have as the people placing the bets. We get to pick and choose where we want to bet. We don't need to bet into every game and find multiple players or anything like that. We're only going through looking for good situations. Then for the Bulldogs, nothing that really stands out here. Right center for the Bulldogs, so Stephen Crichton. I think this is a good situation for him. Bulldogs ranked 4th in tries to the right center, and Broncos do concede pretty much all their tries down that right edge. So that's especially very likely where those tries are going to come from. However, Crichton, his past 3 games failed to cross the line. Did score during the mid part of the season, but has been slightly inconsistent and only scored a try in 33% of games overall on the season. So I'm just going to stay out of it. But if I had to pick a player to score a try in that game, he would be the one. Cowboys versus Sharks. This is one of my favorite situations for this weekend. For the Cowboys, nothing majorly stands out. Where they are strong in attack, the Sharks are also strong in defense, which makes it definitely tricky for them. And then where they're kind of weakish in attack is where the Sharks are also fairly weakish. Cowboys centers is probably where the most edge is, particularly left center, but not keen at all to get involved in that. And also where Cowboys score the most of their tries through the second row, Sharks give up the least number of tries to the opposition through the second row. So no real plays for the Cowboys. However, with the Sharks, on right wing, they score the most tries in the competition through that position. Sione Katoa likely to cross for this in this game, especially considering the Cowboys give up the second most tries to opponent right wingers. If we go over to Neds, we're looking at here $1.83 for Katoa to cross the line. We bring up the trends. So far this season, he scored a try in 67% of games and scored in his past 5 games overall and 6 of his past 7. So very consistent crossing the line, scored 2 tries in round 19 prior to the bye. And with that setup, expect the Sharks to also really be targeting this right-hand side. We have a look. They're the number 2 right edge compared to the number 10 left edge, and the Cowboys defend the left edge extremely well, whereas the Cowboys, don't defend the right edge well at all. So this is where the Sharks have to target, and on that right wing, Katoa should be able to take full advantage of that. So that's one of my higher confidence plays of the weekend. Roosters versus Eagles. Just in general, this is going to be a really, really good game. Roosters face a test of playing top 8 sides over the next 2 weeks, which they've struggled against overall this season. For this game, there's 2 plays I want to play. Both of them are with the Roosters. Firstly, if we look at the Roosters, the left edge is where they perform the best, and the Seagulls aren't super strong. They're kind of an average side defending the left edge. And then on the right-hand side, the right wing the Roosters score the second most tries through that position, and the Seagulls concede a high number of tries through that position. So do really want to target wingers overall. And we know with the Roosters, Tupou and Dominic Young score plenty of tries for them. Young scored 14 on the season, and Tupou scored 13 overall on the season. And both of them are very consistent at scoring tries, but there's not a great deal of value for them to score individually. However, we can get them as a double, so Young and Tupou to combine for 2+ tries. So they can score one each. Young can score two, Tupou can score two, and that bet will win overall this season if we come back to the trends. Their last 3 games, they've combined for 2+ tries and also combined for 2+ in 4 of their past 5. But Young didn't play that game in round 15. And then further back on through the season, combined for 3 tries in round 10 and 11. And just have been consistently doing it throughout the year. And with this setup, with the Seagulls considering a high number of tries to wingers, it's definitely a good situation for them. The other one that stands out is the second row here. Roosters score the second most tries through the second row, and the Seagulls ranked 11th defensively to that position. Obviously, you have 3 players to pick from through the second row if we come down to the lineups. For the Roosters, Crichton, Radley, and Watson are the starting second row for them. Then looking at the trends, Crichton here so far this season has scored 8 tries and has been fairly consistent. He scored a try in 2 of his past 4 games, but also if you go back to the mid part of the season, he scored all 8 tries since round 8 and only hasn't scored a try in 3 of those games. So been very consistent in general, and we're getting a fair enough price here for this situation because majority of tries have come through him for this position. For the Roosters, if we go back and look through, Radley scored a couple recently, but only 5 overall in the season. And then Connor Watson, I'll see if I can spot his name, has only scored the 2 tries overall in the season. So like Angus Crichton to score a try here with the TAB, I was paying $2.75 to score a try. So that'll be the other play there in the Roosters Seagulls game. Next matchup, Dragons versus Panthers. There really isn't any good situations here, pretty much for either side. Firstly, looking at the Dragons, they score the majority of their tries through the right wing, but the Panthers are the second best defense to that position. So you can't target Zach Lomax in that situation with a great deal of confidence. It's not to say, obviously there's no definites in this. We're looking to make, educated and decisions based on what the data is telling us, not to say that, oh, well, they're not going to score just because the Panthers are the second best defense to that position. You can obviously still score. However, it's not an ideal situation. We want to, play that position when they're going up against a 13th, 14th, 15th, and so on, defensive side to that position. And then going on through, Panthers obviously very strong defensively. The only area where they kind of struggle is to the left wing, where Bostock was able to take advantage of that last week, but the Dragons don't have the capability in that position to take advantage of. It's kind of like the only real weakness in the Panthers defense. Then for the Panthers, the only situation that's also in their favor realistically is the fullback. But without Dylan Edwards, Dane Laurie plays fullback, and so far this season, he has only scored the 1 try, which was in the last game against the Redcliffe Dolphins. So don't really want to get involved with him. Don't have enough data to make a good decision there. And obviously, majority of those tries have come through Edwards. And outside of that, you could also look at the front row for the Panthers, but just going to stay out of that game. I don't think there's any edges strong enough worth playing. Dolphins versus Titans. So the second game on Sunday, there's a couple of situations here I want to take advantage of. Firstly, at fullback for the Dolphins, they're the number 1 side with tries to the fullback, and the Titans concede the most tries to opponent fullbacks. So come down to the lineup, hammers in for the Dolphins. So Tabuai Fido to score a try here. Looking at the season trends overall, he's the number 1 try scorer, scored or number one average tries. Obviously missed plenty of games throughout the season, but he has scored 11 tries, scored a try in 78% of games this season. And to score a try, he's paying $1.75 with the TAB this weekend. This is one to be cautious of. When I was looking through Sportsbetter, paying $1.43 for him to score a try, and you can get close enough to double that at $1.75. So you definitely shop around and get the best possible price. But he's definitely an official play in this situation. Whenever we have situations like this where we've got the number one side going up against the worst side to that position, as long as the regular player for that team, for that position, is going to be starting, then we're going to take advantage of it. And it's pretty much an auto bet in that situation. The other key area for this game is looking to the left edge for the Dolphins. They're the number 2 overall left edge, and the Titans are ranked 10th defending that left edge. So this is the better situation of the two, whereas on the right-hand side, the Dolphins are ranked 10th to that side. Majority of the tries coming through center, and the Titans defend that side of the field slightly better than they do the left edge. So we want to target this left edge. So looking at the team lists for the Dolphins, Farnworth and Bostock for the Dolphins are going to be the players we're targeting here. So far this season, Bostock scored in his past 2 and 4 of his past 5 overall, averages trying 63% of games. And then Farnworth, it's been a little bit more inconsistent. Scored 4 tries overall on the season and averaging a try in 31% of games. But the play here, we're going to bring them both together and they're going to combine for 2 or more tries. So similar to the Dom Young, Dan Tupou play, either player can score 2 or they can score 1 each, and it's paying $2.20 for that to eventuate. And against this Titans defense, who in general is pretty poor, Dolphins going to be targeting that left edge, especially coached by Wayne Bennett. They're going to find throughout the week, they're going to have identified that as the area to target. And that's the exact same thing we're doing here from the betting perspective. Then for the Titans, there's not a great deal of good situations for them. Where they struggle is also where the Dolphins struggle, and where they're good, the Dolphins are good at defending that position. The second row is pretty much the only positive situation for them. However, in general, I don't love to target too many second rowers. Fafita, Fermor, and Randall is the Titans' second row this week. You could potentially look at a play on Fafita. However, he's only scored 1 try in his past 7 games overall, and majority of those tries came during that 4-week period earlier on in the season. And then Fermor has been okay recently, but another one that's fairly inconsistent. But you could look at them as potential plays, but it's not like the strongest situation just overall in general, but probably the best of the ones for Titans. Camperera, left winger for the Titans, crosses for a high number of tries, but Dolphins defend that position really, really well. So just going to stay out of that one. And then final game of the round, Raiders versus Rabbitohs. Potentially could be a high-scoring game. We'll see how we go. There's 2 plays in this game. Firstly, with the Raiders, pretty much there's only one positive situation. You'll notice they don't score that many tries and are ranked low in almost every position, except for second row. They're the number 2 side in tries through the second row, and the Rabbitohs don't defend that position well. So we can look for players to take advantage of here. Bring up the lineups, second row, Hudson Young, Whitehead, and Smithies for the Raiders. Come back over to the trends. Hudson Young, so far this season, has scored 9 tries, scored 2 last week, had a really good run during the mid part of the season, but does get a good situation here and is in try scoring form. Over on the TAB, we can get $2.30 for him to cross. And against the Rabbitohs, I'm happy to play that. They are a side who generally give up a high number of tries. Raiders do have the halves back, especially Fogarty's especially key. You really do need to have the halves in to generate tries through the second row. Those players who are able to dummy pass and hit those runners on where they potentially are a decoy runner, but then hitting them and them taking the run. You need the players with skill to be able to do that. And this situation does represent for this game. So I like the Raiders here and Hudson Young to score. And for the Rabbitohs, there's not really a great deal of opportunities for them. The halves and front row are like the two that, positionally wise do stand out. However, especially the front row, but the Rabbitohs front row this week, obviously Cook's in there, but it's not an ideal situation to be playing any of those three players. However, I do want to just target the left edge here. The Rabbitohs are a better left edge than they are right edge. The Raiders defend the right edge better than they defend the left edge. So we're going to play Alex Johnston. He scored 2 tries in his past 2 games. So in really, really good form since he was out injured, has scored a try in a number of games. Only missed a try in 3 of 8 total matches. So 5 of 8, he has scored a try since then. And he also has scored in 5 tries in his past 3 games against the Raiders. So has a really good record of them. They were a couple of factors that pushed him over the line as being a play. And we can get $1.80 for him to score a try. So there's 11 total bets for this weekend. I'll just quickly bring these up and scroll through them. On Sportsbet, we're going with Meaney and Howarth to combine for 1 try or more. Anderson for the Storm to score. Dominic Young, Daniel Tupou, 2+ tries combined. Bostock and Barnworth, 2+ tries combined. Then on Ned, Sione Katoa for the Sharks, score a try. And on TAB, Teen Selesniak to score a try. Talagi to score a try at 290. Tabuai Fido to score $1.75. Angus Crichton for the Roosters at 275. Hudson Young for Canberra at 230. And Alex Johnston for the Rabbitohs at $1.80. So those will be the 11 plays for this weekend. If you're following along, good luck. If you want to use these tools for your own research processes, not just, the try scorers, but also when you're going through analyzing games, predicting which team you think is going to win, which team you should back, whether you think it's going to be a high-scoring game, low-scoring game, all those kind of things, use the bet finders to do that analysis. Don't try and do it the hard way and use like the NRL website or use the app and try and compare things. Like I built these tools about 10 years ago and just kind of have kept on evolving them over the years to make the research process for myself really, really easy. And earlier this season made it available for everybody to use because I want more people to be winning their bets on the NRL. Such a popular sport in Australia and especially to be betting on. But if you're betting on it like a fan or you're betting on it with a lot of emotion, then you're definitely not going to make money betting on it. And that's why having these tools to make your research really, really easy and pick really smart bets is the key to doing it. So if you're following along with the bets as well, make sure you follow that staking advice. Quickly recap it. You want to bet each selection to win 1.5 units. Don't just outlay the same stake on every player because there's a couple in there that are paying, $1.50, $1.60, up to $1.80, and then there's a few that are paying around the $2.50 to $3 mark. Don't just put the same amount on everyone because the ones that are paying shorter odds are definitely most likely to score a try. I really like to play on Sione Katoa to score a try for the Sharks. And then the other one, Tabuai Fido for the Dolphins. Definitely look as though he'll be crossing. Those are the main 2 that stand out statistic-wise. And obviously, I want you guys to also remember that, as I said in all my videos, if you watch the full round previews as well, the betting decisions I make aren't based on my personal opinion, aren't based on, any like leniency or bias I have towards certain teams or players. It's purely based on the statistics and what that's telling us. If you make decisions based on that, then you're going to be way less likely to be emotionally impacted. So good luck this weekend. Hope you guys have a winning weekend. Check out the bet finders. I'll put the link in the description of this video and appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for videos like this for the rest of the season all the way through to the grand final, which is coming around quickly.